Hmm. Mm. Wow. Dropping frames galore due to lag. Not good. I have to set my settings down. Settings. Super fast. Try that. Might be a crappy stream, but I guess we'll see. Okay, Jim. Oh, looks like I've missed the real chat. Pop out chat. Okay. Alright, sorry folks. Didn't realise I was missing the real chat there. I had the wrong window open and I didn't see you all screaming in the distance like, hey, we're over here. But no, I didn't see it. So we got Mark, Dan, Paulie, Grease Monkey, Greg, Aaron. Alright. Seems I've got most of the important people here. Nothing dramatically exciting happening. It's actually really late, and I thought, been a while since I've done a stream, and I need to get some coding done to finish up a couple of things. A few of you may be aware, a while ago, I was sent this, which is the B-side ADM20 multimeter, and let's see, I've written the Windows software, Windows OBS software for this. Well, I shouldn't say OBS software because it's just a generic, small, simple application that works on the Windows system, and then you just put it into OBS, so it's easy enough. But I didn't have one for for Linux. You can see it's late at night. What is this? It's 12:30 at night at the moment. So I didn't have one for Linux, so I coded up a command line version, but then I really wanted to have a X version so I can get bigger fonts on the screen. And I managed to get that up just as a scratch job the other night, but I've got some more refinements I need to make to it before I start using it on a daily basis. But for now, it looks like I'm going to be using this as my daily driver, at least until my bench top meter arrives, which who knows when that's going to turn up. Hey Sonia, it's David Legal, and Jan Roberts, Newgard. No, I don't think it's pronounced guard, but anyway. Maurice. Let's see. Looks like I've got some adjustments to make here. So let's add moderator. It's been a while since I've been on a live chat, I'm sorry. And I've just got to mark the people that I know who they are. I think. I've probably stuffed up something. Anyway. Alright, well, so let's, I'll show you what it's up to at the moment. So, let's see. Let's get this code up. Good old Vim. Now I am running, my screen is normally a 1920 by 1200. I much prefer that, getting that extra 120 pixels. But obviously the stream is 1080. So I think the bottom of the screen is just around about here for you guys, but for me it extends a little bit further down, so I'll try and not drag anything down below that too much. And let's see, now these meters, they work in USB serial mode, so they're very easy to access in Linux. I kind of want to see what's, so I'm just shuffling things around. You can tell it's been a while. I know I'm in the dark here, but I'm not going to turn on the light in front of my face because it gets in your eyes and I can't code properly when that's happening. Anyway, so this is connected onto USB serial port 0. Let's bring that up. B-side ADM SDL2 port. Alright. So it's working pretty good now. The speed is actually quite good. I think it's around about a 5 to 10 updates a second. Much better than pretty much any other portable meter I've ever seen or had access to. What, now you're going back to 0? The values are unpredictable at the moment because I have no leads connected into it. So when it measures anything, it's just simply whatever's on the air at the moment. You're gonna play ball. It's decided it wants to have 0. Maybe I should get some leads. Or maybe I should be naughty. We'll plug this piece of wire into one of the ports and see what happens. No, it wasn't that. No. I'm gonna get a hell for that. I broke my meter. This is why I want great. See, the software's got bugs in it. That's now on a different serial port, I bet. Okay, kill -9. And that's dead. I bet you USB 1. No, yeah, 0. No. There we go. Alright. Let's see. Sorry, I missed all the chat. Vim. Jane Robo, I didn't realize it was your first. Now, can I do this in Rust? No, I will not do it in Rust. As in C or C++. They are the only true languages on this world. Is this the same as Lewis? No, I think it's a bit of a fun situation with Lewis. That Paul over there is bald, as opposed to me, who's got a nice long strand of hair there. And that's Paul S. I'm obviously Paul D. So, bit of a difference. And while I do write the code for Lewis's stuff, yeah, I'm certainly quite a distance away from him. Anyway, so we've got this, but the first things that you may notice is that the box is far too big. There's no mode indicator, and yeah, that's pretty much the two main things. I could try and have it so that it automatically looks for the serial port that it might be on. I'm not overly keen on doing that. Hey ITC, good to see you. Let's see. And the figures that you can see rolling up at the moment, that's just probably just simply an integrator picking up bits and pieces, and it's not being nulled out or something. I don't know. Free air electrostatic potential. It'll actually probably push all the way to the limit at some point. Alright, so I think the first thing I'm going to tackle is try and make it so that it comes up for a reasonable width. And then I need to be able to set the font size. Or maybe we'll set the font size first. Let's kill that. And I have to remember where I set the font size in this. I have not been doing a lot of code lately. Alright, so we've got the font size here. So we should change that from a hard-coded value, and we'll say font size, and I'm going to make sure I've got different types of variable naming conventions here. We're going to have underscore separators, or we could have camel case like that, which I hate, for that sort of thing. Or you can do mixed versions like camel case and separators. That's always, yeah, why not? Split personalities all over the place. I haven't got my tags. Let's see the tags. Start up. Thank you. There we go. So these are our globals, where we can just add more and more variables because without thinking about what we're doing. Int font size. There we go. Now I know this is got a C++ extension on it, CPP, but really it's just C code. Is Lewis using the same brand of model of digital multimedia? Lewis is using the B&K 390, 390A, BK 390A. This here is probably half the price of that. Yeah, I've also done the BK393 virtually, so no one's ever sent me a BK390 or a 393, but because the specification was already written out in paper on a PDF file, I was able to get it working sufficiently well that I could then hand it off to someone else, and then they would report back with potential issues that we had, and we refine it from that way. It's not the best way to do it. It wastes a lot of time, but sometimes, you know, it's a bit rich to send a $150-200 meter across the world, and you won't get it back, that's for sure, because I'm too lazy to go back to the post office. Let's see, by the way, let me know if the audio is a little too high. I'll kind of push the gain up a bit more because it's late at night and I'm kind of getting a bit lazy with the throat. Not that I do a lot of talking during the day either. Let's see. Let's see, what was I doing? Oh yeah, my globals. There we go. Font size, because we'll set this default to be 60. Yeah, let's set the font. And a lot of this is actually code that I've taken from a previous version of the software, and I'm just remodifying it. Writing code from a completely blank sheet, I don't do that too often anymore. Most of the time I'm usually cut pasting or using an old project as a template, doing from a bare scratch situation. That's yeah, it just doesn't happen much. Audio is fine, thank you very much, Jan Robert. Let's see. Let's see, what do we use for font size? We can't use F, that's for other things. We'll try Z. Font size. I think it's points. I really don't know. Let's put it up here, case, not going to do any error checking, no. Let's see, very primitive error checking. What am I doing? Just steal from this. That should do it. Hey, Justin Millman. Alright, let's see if that even works. Yay! Compile warnings. No one listens to compile warnings. Let's try a really small font size. And it does work. We've got a much smaller font there. So let's try 400. Yeah, that's just ludicrous. Let's try 100. Yep. Okay, so we know our font size works. On the subject of error checking, let's see. Yeah. Now you have to debate. Do you bother do error checking within the parsing parameters? I say no, you should do it after you parse the parameters. It depends on which parameter you're checking, I suppose. Well, this is really an arbitrary limit. Let's say 200. Still looks like black magic. Yeah, it's not that bad, really. It's just a case of trying to, if you got to cut it down to little tiny pieces, smaller and little smaller pieces. Housing's an upside down land. It's very hot at the moment. That's why I'm doing work at close to midnight here. Hey Stella, good to see you. The kitties have been, now you're going to get me talking. The kitties have been a bit of a drama. We currently looking after 7 of them. One of them's a foster that we have to try and relocate. We're not going to kick him out, but we do need to find a new home for him. We had a snake bite today. That was no fun. We let them out into an area that we just refurbished, and unfortunately one of the cats within about 20 minutes managed to hone in on a snake. They got bitten, so off down to the vet we had to go. Unfortunately the serum results came back negative, so well, I guess we got lucky. It was most likely what we call a yellow-faced whip snake here, and they are venomous. They're fairly disinclined to bite unless you really harass them, and of course being cats, that's what cats do. They harass the hell out of everything. So yeah, another day, another couple of $100 down at the vet. So that vet's really, they're going to buy their second or third BMW thanks to us. Just going to increase this picture size a little bit for everybody. Whoops. There we go, just a bit more. We've had, the last few weeks, we've been having some trouble with Micro, who is basically our baby cat, even though he's the second oldest cat that we have. He's just not been well. We suspected they originally picked up something from one of the stray cats that roam around. We had to install a couple of 100 meters of plastic sheeting along the fence line to stop the stray cats interacting with ours. So it's just been a lot of dramas every day. It's like, is today going to be a day where we don't have to deal with something, and hopefully tomorrow will be. So we just got to take it as it comes. And I've still got about 70 meters of fencing to install, and the weather here is not very conducive to doing fencing. You essentially would have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then you get maybe 3 hours of working time before it becomes simply too hot to be out there doing that kind of work. And you come in, and then you can probably start at around about 6 o'clock, maybe if you're pushing at 5:30 at night, and then you get again another 2 hours. So you can fit about 4 hours of work. It's just a pain that it gets split up. But this time of the year in this region, you'd be a lunatic to be out there if you don't do that sort of thing every day and you're not conditioned to it. So yeah, it's a little bit ridiculous. So we sit inside and here waiting for the heat to go away, which has produced its own problems. Oh, that sounded like a cat. Just hang on there.
It's okay, I got it.
It's alright.
Yeah, it's just the girls.
Yeah, as I was saying, the cats. Yeah, hey, that's what you get for having a bunch of cats. So, oh yeah, the electricity bill was just ludicrous. It was like $1,800 for this quarter. So every 3 months, $1,800 to keep the place cool. I've got a cough. Just hang on. Hay fever's been playing up bad with all the grass and everything that I kept cutting down. Yeah. Tyler Kronbosch. This is a kid's getting very comfortable with the keyboard. Oh yes, with Vim, yeah, getting used to the keyboard commands is very much the key. That is essentially why people like Vim so much, is once you're used to using the keyboard, then you don't really have to touch the mouse too much, and you can do a lot of work very quickly without having to go up to the menus or anything like that. Pets are expensive, they certainly can be. Just in the food alone, they're quite a punch out of the pocket. Do you have a punch card for the vet visit? Yeah, I wish. I have a TV question. What's the TV question? Let's see. Modifying or writing code from scratch. This is a modification of. So there was one program written from scratch a long time ago that would have been for one of my much older multimeters, and essentially what I do is I take whatever the most recent sort of most applicable version of this multimeter software I have and copy that and start modifying it for a new meter or a new purpose. I'm using separate programs for whether I'm doing text output, and I wrote an X11 or XLib version of this software, but I found the problem was that by default XLib only really wants to work with a very limited set of fonts. It doesn't use TrueType or Type 1. I mean, you can make it do it, but you've got to load in a whole lot of other stuff. So this one here is actually a SDL2 version, and SDL2 is the library that we use for Flexboard View, OpenBoard View. It's cross-platform, it works pretty good. It sort of hides away a lot of the complexities that you would normally be exposed to if you're trying to do cross-platform. So yeah, I'm just sort of taking the X11 version or XLib version, and I rewrapped it into SDL2, and now I'm trying to refine it so that it's more user-friendly, so to speak. So it doesn't just sit there blinking at you, making you feel like, well, what's it doing? Yeah, I want it to be able to now be a proper end-user product. R&E YouTubers built their own battery pack using laptop packs. With the AU123 type cells or the lithium ion cells that they have. We pay around about probably around about 25 US cents a kilowatt hour. That's roughly what we do. For some reason my bill shut up. I was using 75 kilowatt hour a day, which is just a ludicrous amount of power. I should be using more like 30 to 40 kilowatt hour a day to keep the place cool. I think what happened is one of the hot water heaters has a stuck thermostat, and I've shut that down, so I'll check the meter tomorrow and see whether we're sort of back to normal. What I really hate about this place is that the meters are not smart meters, in the sense of you can't log into them to see what your current consumption rate is or anything like that. All you got is the spinning disc, and you can sit there and count the number of times it goes around in a minute, but I'll pass on that. So what I do is I just every day go out there and check it, see what the new digits are. let's see. Bobby, was he? I have a TV with no LED backlight voltage. Going to the LED strip. When I check return voltage, you get 0. Maybe you got a blown LED in there somewhere. I don't know. TVs aren't really my thing. I'm sure someone else out there can help you. Alright, so we've got the font size check. Now we want to have it so that it tries and resizes the box to suit the string that we're going to try and use. Now typically I'm using monospace font, which makes it easy because every character is a fixed width, so you can guess it fairly well. So ideally, things up again. Yep. Ideally, we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll say 10 character width. That'll do it. Which means I really need to initialize the font. So here's, there we go. And we're creating more globals. Set some reasonable starting values at 400. Let's see, where's the temperature of your hot water at the faucet? It'd be, well, it's probably got to be about 55, I'd say, because it will scald you or will burn you if it goes too high. Unfortunately, there's no adjustment on this hot water, the misbehaving one. All there is a safety valve, and the one where it will pre-mix or mix in cold water to try and bring it down. Something's gone wrong with that, because I can definitely scald myself with it. So it's a case of maybe they tried too hard to get this thing to be a safety unit, and it's just gone and ruined everything. Because if I leave, at the moment, if I leave that hot water, the water running into it, the feed in, it will just constantly run. I can hear it, the water running through the pipe on a constant basis. So it's, I don't know what it's doing. So I actually have to turn that off at the input, the water in, to stop it just spilling water out all day. In America, you can have it 110. Oh man, our weather gets hotter than that. Yeah, 110. That. How are you supposed to do dishes with 110? You can't. It's not enough to kill things properly. Yeah. 120 I might go for, but maybe 51 or 50. I'll go for 50. I can understand that I wanted to go for 52 because 52 is when your proteins and your cells start to break down due to the heat. But 110, that's 43 degrees. That's no good. If you do, you may have a bad check valve. I would say that is probably, you are probably quite correct there. Yeah. If I was a betting man, I'd say $5 says you're right. Ah. I see Pianov's complaining. Hi Pianov. Yes, I know. You can see me doing C and C++. I'm only using C++ just to make the compiler behave, because I'm too lazy to care to find out how to do it properly. This is definitely a C program. It is not a C++. Not in the true sense. There's no object-orientated stuff going on here, really. Is the cold water warm? No, the cold water is quite cold. Great, now I'm losing my train of thought. This is why I don't live stream coding most times. People have aneurysms watching me code, and I don't really care much. I just like to get the job done. As long as it works, I'm happy. And because I'm the one supporting the code afterwards, I guess I'm a victim of my own inadequacies, one might say. I've got to work out now how to calculate string size. Alright. Let's see what's going to happen here. TTY. Alright, so this is how we find out. Damn it, this is why I like multiple screens. Yeah, this is how we're going to find out how big our window needs to be. We're just going to run this with a 10 character wide text. Okay, so we initialize the true type font stuff. And let's see, TTF. I've never used this before, so forgive me. Looks like I need to open the font first. Font, comma, minus 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's see, we need to pass pointers to our width and height. Oops, address g dot. Why did I use screen width and height? That should be window. Anyway. Okay, we're kind of bodging things here, but hey, that's what it's all about. Bodging everything. Ah, what do you know, it worked. Okay, let's try a smaller font. Let's try 20. Yep, there we go. That's auto sizing to what we want. Let's see. Let's add access to the info need to create board views from some phone. Which file format understands best? From the ashes. Well, look, put it this way. If you can produce ODB++ format files, if you can produce the unifile format as in it's a single file, there's another type of ODB++ which it creates a directory structure just full of different files. That one is a lot more painful to deal with, but there is definitely a single file export format for ODB that Flexboard View will actually read in. I've done that for another person a few months ago. It's I don't know the technical differences between it because I do not have access to things like Altium or OrCAD, so I don't know how or why we have this two very different styles of ODB output. But yeah, if you can generate ODB plain text output, then I can import that. I'm also writing a FAB importer, a fab importer, and that will let us be able to do things from Eagle. Like if I bring up JD Eagle. Personally, I never really quite understood the appeal of that eagle flying thing, but anyway. Yeah, with Eagle you can... No, wrong. We don't want the CAM processor. You can do an export to FabMaster. So, yeah, if you export to FabMaster, then I will soon have an importer for that, which is probably the easiest way. I'm not sure if I have... No, can't find any at the moment. Anyway. Yeah, ADB++ or ADB plain text single file format. Otherwise, try the fab output and see how that goes. Let's see. I'm getting a report in now about a cat fight that was in the hallway earlier. Let's see who was to blame. Mia and Luna. Oh. Okay, Lulu was innocent this time. Oh dear. It was the girls fighting. Alright, so our auto resize is working fine. That's good. I've kind of killed all the... What else do I need to do now? I suppose I should make it that if I get no parameters at all, I should bring up the help. If argc equals 1, yeah, I'll do it. Where am I after? How do I not have the help function built in here? Show help. My finger's not in the right place. Okay, let's try no parameters. Yay, we got our help. That's good. That's what I wanted. Hey Chuck, am I adding more bugs for Lewis? Oh, I'm always adding bugs for Lewis. I mean, you know, it makes his day interesting. Yeah. Otherwise, he'd be stuck just reballing SMCs or CD3215s or whatever those chips are all day. What kind of life is that? You got to have some bugs in your life because gives him a chance to take out his frustrations and angers on some person on the other side of the world that he's never met. Yeah, I'm just doing a good deed for the guy, trying to give him a chance to de-stress. Literal cat fight? Yes, a literal cat fight. I heard it before. It was... we just cut 2 holes in the walls tonight too, so that they could get from one part of the lower house to the other. And the reason why we have to have 2, you cannot have one cat door in a wall when you've got multiple cats, because you will always get one cat perched on the other side waiting for the cat that it doesn't like to come along and try and get through, and then you just have this fight going on one cat hole. So you've got to put 2 in for each wall so that they can pass or get around each other without a fight. Seriously, this place is just turning into a house for cats, and we're just the caretakers. Which programming language do you feel is the easiest? That's a difficult question. I suppose it depends on what you mean by easy. That's one of those very subjective terms, a bit like best. This is probably going to be very unpopular, but I would say PHP is one of the languages I would gladly throw at someone, because it has a very rapid reward cycle rate. That is, you can go from nothing, like just 2 or 3 lines of PHP, and immediately you get a positive reinforcement result. Whereas with C, you've got to compile it, you've got to get through that compiling process. I mean, PHP will have that issue too, but the fact that it just has a very immediate success rate, usually, I find PHP was just one of those languages that lent itself to encouraging people to code more, and that's got its downsides, as we can see by the number of security issues with so many PHP based websites. But in terms of actual encouraging people to program and things like that, then PHP is sort of the web version of Visual Basic, I suppose. I still say add a Landrex skin to Open Board View. Yeah, that'd be brutal. I don't know if it'd be worth that much work for me though, but I was thinking once we integrate the multimeters in with the flex board view, when it picks up things like 12.54 volts or something, it taunts Lewis about SMC issues and things like that. Dogs have masters, cat have staff. Yes, that's quite true. YTS, what? Sloppy? I'm not even going to try and... I know that's probably akin to what you see is what you get type stuff. Why am I still awake? Because it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I've got to think of what else I've got to add to this to make it more human usable. So we've got the nice auto sizing, so that's good. Yep. I mean, look at that update rate. That's just brilliant. I mean, that would make Lewis jealous, seeing how fast that updates. So you try that on the BK390. That does maybe 1-2 updates a second. This thing's doing 5 to 10, and it's a cheap meter, really. And I'll gotta admit, even though it's not wireless, it uses a USB mini connector, not the micro one, the mini one, which I much prefer, in all honesty. And so you can have a fairly lightweight wire here, not the big fat serial cables, because they've decided to shield them 3 times over and have a DB9 connector in the end there with a great big bloomin' adapter for the optical separation. Major overkill. This thing is quite practical, I gotta admit. So thank you very much for sending that, by the way. I am getting a benchtop meter, a Vicky something. It was like $160. I think it was on special. That will be an interesting one, because that's going to... all of these meters will just dump the data blind. They don't care whether anyone's listening. They just send it out with each frame. Whereas with the benchtop meter that I'm going to be getting, you actually have to query it, so there'll be a little more latency in that. But it'll be an interesting expansion on the project. Lewis's display for the multimeter is frozen on his stream yesterday. Well, that's probably Lewis being dumb somewhere. Let's see. I use a BM869. I don't know that one. I really don't know much at all, in fact. I sort of have this very small world scenario where I work within. Like basically I'm coding C, I code in PHP, Bash. I use a very limited set of multimeters. I work on a very limited set of boards and repairs. And then I watch everyone else on YouTube do all these amazing things, and I'm like, it's like I'm really not very well versed in a lot of this. Let's see, why can't we paste via mouse click? That is a problem with the ImGUI toolkit that's being used to produce all the interface. I'll try and work on that. Probably the best thing I can do is actually have, when you right click, it'll come up for context menu and allow you to like cut, paste, whatever. You can use Control C, Control V. I also have to add the mappable keyboard commands, because me being Australian decided that I'm just going to write software for Australians and Americans maybe, but definitely the UK people, and the rest of the world can, they can suffer. Because, that's the mentality of a 7-bit ASCII type world. So I have to get around to adding all these internationalizations, which is surprisingly a lot of work, and you end up ripping up a lot of your old code and replacing it with the new code. So you're saying that's like, well, yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, UDP versus TCP. It's more like these meters are just they're broadcasters like UDP, but the other ones, the other ones will still not care whether you receive the data or not, but you actually have to prompt them to send the data. So it's halfway. We'll call it halfway between UDP, TCP. What brain model? Let me bring it up. Let's see. First, I'll make sure that I don't reveal anything that I'm not supposed to. It's a very common one. I'm just bringing up my purchase history. Okay, it's the VC8145. Come on. So it's this one here. It's an 80,000 count meter. I don't know how real that is. The main thing that I was interested about with this one is apparently it has a very fast continuity mode, and if anyone has been, if you are doing work on boards, you will know that having a very fast continuity mode is actually extremely useful, because otherwise you get caught out wondering, is it really a short, or was that just a glitch or something like that? Jessa needs a meter like that for iPad rehab. Now, I don't actually, what meter does she have these days? I thought she had the Fluke, but I'm not sure anymore. So this meter has got the traditional RS-232, which I will probably put just a little adapter dongle on that to straight away turn it into USB. Yeah, they supply this cable with it, but there's not much point. The upside is that being a bench meter, it will just stay there, so it's not a problem if there are thick cables, whereas with these portable ones, you do tend to move them around the desk a lot, whether you intend to or not. But most of the time you move them because they're getting in the way of what you're actually trying to keep on your desk. Now, Bobby, what sort of repairs do you do? Alright, so we've got the resizing, we've got the help that comes up. I suppose we should actually, this is one of the funny parameters that always amuses me, and that is the help parameter, which I just, good one, Paul. There we go. I do like these keyboards. These are KBC keyboards. They use the cherry blue, but I'm sorry, they are not a replacement for the buckling spring. So I need to go get myself a buckling spring keyboard, and what do you know, Amazon will not sell them to me. I have to go through Unicomp directly. No, Unicomp. There we go. And what I'm going to be looking for is, I think it's the Ultra Classic. Yeah, so I'm thinking of getting one of these in USB. Haven't decided whether I'm going to get the black body with white or just stick with the classic white that will turn into the ugly yellowy color when all the, what is it that's in it, the bromine? No, not the bromine. Forgotten the chemical that they have in them that makes them go yellow. But yeah, this is basically what I want to get. But okay, so it's 84 US dollars. That's not bad. That's pretty good price. But so you go add it to the cart, and you go. Let me estimate my shipping. Let's see. I want to go outside the US. Let's go Queensland, Australia. And what do you? Oh, cheapest you're gonna get is $84 US shipping. But if you want a chance of it actually arriving, you pay 150. So yeah, you end up paying let's say 84, 6. You're paying 200 US dollars for a keyboard. I mean, it'll be worth it. They're great keyboards. But yeah, it is 200 US dollars. But they definitely are very nice to program on. Like I said, these Cherry Blues are a good start. But you if you've been programming for a long time on the buckling spring keyboards, you instinctively know, you feel for that spring buckle, whereas the Cherries do not have that. They have the click, but that's more of an audible click. It doesn't really quite feel the same, and so you respond a little bit differently, and you get a little bit out of sync when you're typing a little too fast. Of course, the other possibility is that I'm just getting old. That is actually probably quite. 1:15, crazy. Yes, I am crazy. But this is, I go to 3 a.m. when I'm coding sometimes. Let's see. Bobby, do phones, tablets, PC cleaning as a hardware replacement? Okay, so you sort of, what, just started out as mostly PC stuff and you're expanding out into more repairs? Oh, man, that's good. Yeah, Amazon's changed a lot from the days of the bookstore. I remember when they first started coming about back in like 1999 or something like that. Yeah. I'm used to membrane keyboards. Oh god, it's painful. I like to program on browns. Okay, I would not have thought that would be. I was going to look for a green, which has got more resistance than the blues. I would not have thought about a brown. I don't think I probably will, to be honest. I think realistically, I just need to cough up the cash and spend the $200 and get the proper one. Someone on YouTube is complaining about spending $1,100 to ship a 2-foot square box desktop. Okay, well, Greg, I'm curious how they came up needing to spend that much. I mean, what is that? It's under a cubic meter, and the usual rate's around about 500 per cubic meter. Aaron, I do have 2 IBM M's, but they've gone too far now. I need to just get new keyboards. I could try and sell them, but if I sell them, it's going to go on eBay, and some moron out there is going to go, they're broken keyboards or something, and they're going to PayPal back claim me or something. I've sort of given up on the hope of trying to sell things. Okay, the help code works. Oh, I know what we need to do. Set the color, foreground, background. You people are useless for telling me what features I need. How are we going to do that? Gumtree, no thanks. The problem really comes down to, it's not so much eBay or Gumtree or anything, it's the PayPal situation. Because you get the people that will buy this stuff, and then they will complain to PayPal that it wasn't, as described or anything like that, and they'll win the claim every time. And it's like, yeah, no thanks. Oh, Aaron, what was your feature? Sorry. Repeat it for me. It's going to be fun because, as far as I know, STL doesn't take hex triplets. So, let's see. Gecko laughing at me. Oh yeah, I've got to make sure I've got my UK spelling in there. Use the letter U. Even if you list for parts and repairs, people still make the claim. Combine problem pathing, open board view, multimedia. Yeah, we're probably heading actually that way, Aaron. I mean, it'll be in Flexboard view first, probably. I'll probably have it as the plan I have is a repair template or a repair flowchart type system, whereby, as you say, you sort of say diagnosing backlight on a A203437, say MacBook Air A1466, and from that you would then say, okay, please measure. I really should say inspect the ball on LP8550 to see if the feedback has been destroyed. Things like that. So it'll be a pre-structured template to guide you through and ask for measurements and things like that. That's going to require a lot of, in itself is an entire whole new system, which will then basically just be bolted onto Flexboard view. But that is where I'm planning on taking things, because really, if I just stick with having a board viewer, then that market's been eaten up pretty damn quick. It's only going to take something like ZXW, even though ZXW is now being eaten by phone board. If phone board program picks up PDF integration and then they expand out to MacBook boards, then there goes my market. So it's a case of every morning you wake up and you try to think, okay, I don't want to be eating for lunch today, so I've got to come up with something else that makes sure that my software remains relevant. It's been a little bit quiet lately, but that's sort of mainly I got to the stable point, which was what was it, R883, release 883, and I was happy with that, and I wanted a chance for things to just sort of settle out and get everybody using it, and then I can maybe put a bit of forethought into how I'm going to take the next steps. And once I've got those sort of plans in my head, I'm going to just throw them out and code anything and see what happens. Because I don't really stick to plans very much at all. Oh, no. Yeah, I sort of suspect you meant Flexboard, yeah. Even if a lie of everything about being not described, not arrived in PayPal, will still let you scam sellers. Exactly, yeah. PayPal's model is essentially appease the buyer. And they do it. It's financially sensible for them. From Vive is items advertised shipped in the US but comes from China. Yep. Yeah, we get that here in Australia. It says shipped from Australia or something like that. But they're always drop shipping into Australia and then repackaging it and sending it. The way I usually find they've hide that is they bug you around with the tracking numbers, and so they'll give you a tracking number straight up, but it doesn't seem to come up. So you wait 2 or 3 days, and in the meantime they're ordering it in from somewhere else, and then you'll find a week or two later your tracking number all of a sudden gets updated to something new again. So yeah, it's really devious stuff. I wish they were a little more honest about it. I don't mind paying a bit extra if it's domestic. I'll be curious to see where my multimeter is. Dan, oh, thank you very much, Dan. That's actually really going to be very useful. Thank you. Appreciate that. We're going to have a very quiet Christmas because we did burn all our money on the cats. And I had to spend a lot of money. I spent about $7,000 on the new reception room. Once that's set up, I'll do a live video from within there or take a video of it so you can see how that is, and that will hopefully help business a bit more too, particularly with the walk-ins, add a bit of professionalism, make people actually turn up on my doorstep. You can always tell that people are a little bit taken aback by the condition of the front of this house, because there are our neighbours, their number is 42A, whereas ours is 42. and people who have never been here before, they always rock up next door, and it's like, yeah, I understand why, because they got a nice fresh new house look, and this one is kind of like the Simpsons house when you compare. Anyone who's watched The Simpsons, where the episode where you got the Flanders versus Simpsons, and like Maggie's trying to decide who to go for. Yeah, so we're kind of like The Simpsons with overgrown grass and trash everywhere. I guess no, it is actually trash. We just need bigger bins. It's very hard to keep this yard clean. Very hard. There's just so many things going on in it. We'll get there. We'll get there. What am I doing? Oh, I'm doing the foreground background. Thanks for distracting me, everybody. Thank you. Why have I got... What is this random S here for? Who knows? Now we've got to go for the letter F first. And F. So what is this? Oh no, I'm using the scroll mouse. RVI1. RVI2 equals G. So we've got foreground. Set the Spell it right, Paul. No. I'm getting tired. I can't even work out how to spell words now. Why didn't you indent? Well, I gotta be up here elsewhere. Nope, we're good. Steal it, Paul. Steal it. Yank 3, yank 4. Station 240. If it says Darwin, it's usually assigned China. Yep. Yeah. Darwin really has become basically South Indonesia. I mean, I don't mean that in a disparaging way. It's just, it really is very much like that up there now. It's been a long time since I've been to Darwin, but what I've seen, it's changed. Frame rate is really bad on the capture. Let me have a look at the stats. I've probably got... Wow, I've got an error occurred there. I think it's an encoding lag issue. Probably because I got too much going on. Let me just shut things down. Hopefully that's improved slightly. Oh wow. Oh, there's a blast from the past. Obscenity, yes, Examime is one of mine. It was I coded that from about 1998 through to 2010 or so. I still have all the code and everything, and I basically just mothballed it and sold off the domain. That was relevant back in the days when most people had their own email servers and we weren't all using cloud services. At the time I left that alone, I think I was mostly doing postfix systems. The problem I had was integrating with all the new stuff that was coming up, like Dovecot. I can't think of anything, but essentially I couldn't really keep it sufficiently relevant, and I could see that things like Gmail with their superior spam filtering and whatnot was starting to dominate that area a lot, and I just chose to basically just wind it down. But yeah, I've got all the code for it, and the products that came out of it, things like RipMime, Ultimime, OpenTNF, Open. I did a fair number of things off that I spun off from Examime. So they're all still out there. People still using them, surprisingly, this day. So yeah, it was just one of those came and went type software projects. Put a lot of time into that. Probably didn't get as much back out of it as I should have. I made some immature choices, so to speak. I think that was a big thing where I learned that being emotionally attached to such projects is a dangerous thing. I should say excessively attached. What happened is I was offered a fairly nice price to let it go and give it off to someone else, and I held on to it too much like an artist, and the opportunity didn't come back around, and it was just one of those life lessons. So try not to repeat that. I prefer simple postfix SMT IMAP with Thunderbird client. I still run postfix on my things, and I definitely prefer it over SendMail. SendMail is where I got things started. I think it all happened when I came up with the bidirectional filtering rule for SendMail, which is through the SO rule set. That was one of those just crazy lucky things that I just happened to guess. I don't know if you remember the O'Reilly SendMail book, that whopping great big thick thing. So I just remember going through that over and over and over until I could find a way to get SendMail to filter emails both incoming and outgoing, and that's where the SO rule set came into play. But once Postfix came onto the market, I was just happy to drop SendMail like a hot potato. It was like, you're out of here. SendMail had its place, but it's well and truly dead and gone now. Or at least it should be. I imagine people get good payments though if they can still do SendMail systems. There's got to be a lot of legacy ones still out there. Okay, with this color coding thing, I think I might try and steal the code from somewhere else. Yes, life lessons can be hard and also very destructive financially, and that one set me back a fair way. Like I said, I didn't lose money, I just didn't gain money that I should have gained. Instead, I was holding on to my software like, it's mine. And it's like, I shouldn't have. I should have just said, beauty, you take it, I'm out of here, I'll go off and do something else. But yeah, when you're young and it's your first sort of one, I guess you can do that sort of thing. You get a bit possessive about that, all that hard work you put into it. You overvalue it. You think it should be millions, and it's like, no, well, it's not. Someone else might be able to make millions out of it, but they're going to be doing it using their skill set. You can't really expect you can't expect yourself to take it all the way to the finish line every time. I mean, some people can, but you got to be realistic about your own limitations. Oh gee, Norton 6, my goodness. Was that back when Norton still actually was doing Norton stuff? Trying to think. I don't think I've got any O'Reillys left. I got rid of them all. Especially, this is probably one of the few books that I still carry. I think. Yeah, this one here. It's Algorithms and Complexity. It's a bit dusty because it's been on the floor, because anytime I'm trying to work out something new, particularly with graphics, then I'm usually in this book chasing things. The other book I still keep. The relevance is sort of fading very quickly, but there's this sucker, Computer Graphics, Principles and Practice. Now this is from 1990, whatever. one or two. This was probably late 80s. This was actually originally done, but it's extremely. All the math behind it is still very relevant. All the shading, projections, all that sort of stuff. So it's a very good reference. Always keep that on hand. I use it several times a year because I don't bother to remember how to do rotational transformation matrices and things like that. Lewis seems to have a white powder problem. I don't know. What is he doing? Hey, Phil Thomas? What was I doing? Oh yeah, I wanted to steal the foreground background code. Now I'm pretty sure the one that Lewis uses, the BK393, has that. So let's see, CD development PLD BK398. Let's see, Win BK398. Okay. Oh. Great, I'm not even being consistent between my programs. Oh, I'm using scanf. Okay. Alright. I don't know if this is going to transfer between copy, paste. Lewis seems to be really using the board view program. Well, I think it's pretty hard to do this work most times without doing using board view software. It's funny, I had no intention of this is just the only trouble cut and pasting from other code is that all the indenting's wrong. So 275 275 go. There we go. Except that's the background. Yank 5 lines and put them up there. Of lots of useless things in unopened sealed plastic floppy disk for AOL. Oh god. We never got AOL around here, but yeah, AOL certainly was a good joke starter. I have a feeling this isn't gonna quite work. I think I'm gonna have to does SDL have color management? So I've got these, I can set the color here, but this is using an RGB triple. I don't know, can it, So I don't normally deal with a lot of this stuff. To me, pretty colors and graphics, they're a little bit foreign. I'm more of a command line person. So, and I'm certainly not really a C++ person. Okay. Alright, so SDL color is definitely RGBA, but there uh, should be functions that you can use to you can convert an SDL color to pixel value. So you guys gonna make me actually do it the hard way. Alright. So be it. Where's my global? What? Hey Jen. Okay, obviously I've misspelled something here. Oh, the joy of the mix camel case slash everything else coming in to bite me. I'm just going to put that there so I can refer to it. Okay. Can I create it that way? Yeah, Obscenity, I'm not much of a fan of I mean, there's some things in C++ I really like, such as vectors and maps, and yeah, there are certainly some aspects, but overall I sort of prefer to bastardize C++ by really just simply going, I'll do it mostly in C, and then I'm going to take the parts of C++ that I like. Now, I'm probably being suboptimal in that respect, but yeah, tough. The compilers let me do it, and I'm not in the mood to be pedantic about it, so yeah. I don't think this is going to work. That's because that also should be font. Why do I write don't? See if that even compiles. Come on, give me an error. Oh, shame. No matching function. Whoa, that was my bank account. Namespaces are useful, they certainly can be. But like I said, overall I think it's just there's a lot of pain in C++. Particularly if you are going to be a purist. I think if you can blur the lines, then it's probably a far healthier existence. Right. Well, at least you didn't have to learn on Turtle. No, that was always logo. I never quite got to really get into that. I mean, apparently it was supposed to be a very good language for teaching people, but just never quite saw it. So there's a few languages I never quite got along with, such as Lisp. Okay, I know what I'm doing now, I think. Because we don't need that. We don't need that. Right, that solves that. Yeah, Arduino. See, now I did AVRs a lot from probably about 2008, something like that, and it was all done in C. And then I see they brought out C++ for AVRs, and then Arduino started coming in as more of a generic what's it, uh, hardware or microcontroller agnostic type programming language to make things a little bit easier, or has a fair few more macros over the top of everything. But when it comes to microcontrollers, I gotta admit, if it's under 16K or even 32K, I definitely still prefer to be doing them in C. Under 1K, I'll start doing them in assembly. Not that I actually want to, but yeah, sometimes you got to. Okay, what have I got? Cannot convert pointer to character, pointer to white. Oh, why am I? Oh, of course that was in Windows. That's why. SW scanf. We can say scanf. This is me being a denialist, and right, yeah, that makes complete sense. And ignoring the fact that there's a much bigger world out there that uses multi-byte characters. Okay, where's that line? 589. Yeah, they're compiled. Let's ship it. Oh, this will probably break now. Yep, that's what I thought would happen, because the font color is the same as the background color. So FG 10 FF10 core dumped. Marvelous. Fortran. I actually did like Fortran, which was, I thought was a little unusual, because I'm really not keen on languages that depend on positional, where the position of the character has relevance to its purpose. Though I suppose I sort of came to that dislike when it came to Python. I didn't like the fact that white space in Python is somewhat active. Okay, why am I core dumping? Let's Valgrind this and find out why. It seems, as usual, scanf is a culprit. Good night, Bobby. Yeah, Greg, at university they do pump you with a lot of different languages. A lot of very obscure ones too. Okay, let's change the make file. Whoop, that's the sound of that. That sounds like a whole lot of people puking their guts out at how bad this make file is. And me going, I don't really give a flip. I'm well past the point of giving much of a damn. I mean, I do care, but it's just not that much. Okay. So it is in line 270. Which is this one. Alright. What? Can't type. It pains me to have to do this. Two 272. Well, the problem is that for some reason we're reading a null string, so that's why it's crashing. So we get the F, and we checks to see if it's G, and we jump to the next one, and for some reason it thinks there's nothing there. Weird. Let's try it twice. Wow, that is just weird. Where does my parameter go? Maybe it's because it's... Ah, Shell was interpreting it, that's why. Alright. So basically we were attacking a bug that didn't exist. Yep, that's definitely working. Let's see. Bump the bit rate down. Alright, let's see what we can do. Advanced. I would have thought the bit rate. Yeah, maybe I'm just having a trashy. Try 3500. Ultra fast. See if that works. I was lucky, I never really had to do Visual Basic. I think the last basic I handled on a regular basis was QBasic. And at that point I jumped over to Turbo Pascal 4 and I sort of ran through with Turbo Pascal up to Ball and Pascal 7. Then I jumped ship when Delphi came out. Delphi to me, I know it was very popular, but it always looked like a hack job, the user interface. I wish they had produced a much better set of widgets. Yeah, people love that stuff, but it really was just didn't look appealing to me. Especially with the way, yeah, the Windows GDI was just way ahead of it, and that was even in its weakest form. Okay, just commenting out that trash that we probably don't need. Yep, okay, that's good. That's working. So I really didn't need any of these temporary values. Now to stop the shell from doing silly things, I'm going to remove the requirements of having the prefixed hash and just simply put in the code like it is in my help, funnily enough. From the ashes. Let's see, I found the multi-file file spec, but only single file as it. Alright, well, go for the multi-file, just archive it up. I do have a program that will then allow me to import those ODB++ files and then generate a board file out of that. But Flexboard View itself does not have that ability to do the pardon me, the importing. The reason being is because in that multi-file dump there are just too many things that are done differently between different configurations, so you have to go in and manually find the files that you're looking for that contain the information you want. So I can't effectively make Flexboard View, I can't effectively make a importer that can do that sort of differentiation between what it's looking for and what it can get rid of. Maybe try to see if you can find the Fabricator output, since I'm writing an importer for that. Now that I can definitely read directly. Okay, so that's our foreground color. We've got that sorted out now. At least I should prove that. So it should be able to now just... There we go. No, we have not. What am I doing wrong there? What? You worked that time, but you didn't work before? What's going on? Did I just forget to compile? Oh, I must have just forgot to compile. Huh. Mhm. Oops. Yeah, oh yeah, that's a nice colour. We'll stay with that. Alright, so that's the foreground. Now the background. That's a. How do I set the background on this? I'm not going to change the screen width, screen height stuff to screen width to window width. Height. Okay, that's good. That's fixed for all of them. Yep. Gotta love the power of search and replace of regular expressions in Vim. Right, background. How do you set the SDL window background? I do not know. I spend most of my time just going back over web pages, finding out, okay, set SDL window background color. Change background color of SDL to window. Make software for the meter that graphs the readings. I can definitely do that. Isn't there a format that's already widely supported? Well, ODB++ probably is it. I really actually don't know how they generate or export current BRD files from what program it is. I really don't. But set render draw color. Is this function clear? Current render. Okay, so it looks like I have to. Why can't they just say background color? I'm sure there's a reason. I'm sure there's a technical reason, but it just seems a little weird. Set render draw color. Oh, the little blighter. I don't know if this is gonna work. Maybe if someone else out there knows STL well enough can tell me how to set the background color properly. Except I have to recompile first. That's funny, I had 2 copies going. It's not quite right. Not sure why I've got yellow there. Unless alpha is actually meant to be the first color. Let's try this. 255. Oops. Yep, that's what it was. Okay, we're good. With the format specifications, it's very poorly documented everywhere. I mean, all the formats that FlexBoard View and OpenBoard View read in, we've reverse engineered. There's never been a specification. We basically receive the files, the board files, and we have to deduce what's happening in them based on our understanding of how the board should look, things like that. There's been a couple which we've been very fortunate to be able to write decoders for, because like the ASUS FZ format is actually an encrypted format, and we were just very lucky. There was a person, I can't remember their name now, but they had access to the right information at the time, and we were able to write the decoder. Pernov did a fair bit of work in that too. The BRD format itself is actually also, it's not encrypted, but it is encoded. So if you open up a BRD file, it kind of looks semi-textus repeating gibberish, and that's because it's got a masking map over it, and you have to, I've forgotten even how the decoder works in that. But fortunately these days more and more companies are producing plain text formats, which are an absolute godsend, because then you can at least just look at the file and go, okay, you know, and work out how to get everything to cross-correlate. That's where the FAB format is nice, because it does everything that the BRD format will do, and actually have a fair bit more of information in it, but it is all plain text and easy to parse and understand. Alright, so our foreground background's working fine. I suppose I should set defaults for those. That would be a sensible thing. So then the place to set the defaults is up in the initialization code, which is up here. Yeah, it's getting late. I'm starting to make lots of mistakes here in typing. I wonder if I can do this. Let's see. Red, green. 255. Oh, how horrible! I'm doing it in decimal. Not sure if that's going to compile. The best way to find out is to compile it. Ooh, it's hideous. Looks like alpha comes first. Alpha. Nope, definitely got that wrong still. What are you doing, Paul? That's weird, they do it here. It's just a simple triple. What am I doing wrong? Yeah, if at the open board view, if you go into the source open board view file formats folder, so basically just look for file formats. In there you'll see BRD as one of the importers. Why are you doing this to me? The background, the foreground's right, but the background's red. Why? That would imply that this is actually goes laughing at me. And in the case here, even though I had GMB swapped, it shouldn't have made one bit of difference. It should have still come out white, and yet for some reason, because that was swapped, it didn't come out that way. So I've definitely got a bug in here somewhere still, and I'm pretty sure it's just because the way I'm interpreting this. Where is it? This set render. Chrome. Alright, according to this, it's RGBA. OBS is having a really hard time. Alright, I think I'm going to leave it at that. There, we're going to leave it at that for now. That's working. Alright, well, sorry, it seems like the broadcaster keeps disconnecting, so I'm probably just going to have to leave it at that. Anyway, we got to where we wanted. We've got a couple of extra little features added on that users can tweak. And I'll probably upload this to the Git source place for GitHub. And well, we're going to leave it at that. It's now 2:15 in the morning, so definitely time for me to go and get some sleep. I'll catch you all later. Take care.